Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Next Gen 720, and I'm back with another video. Let me refresh myself in the back. I was gonna do a video, a regular video. So you know what? Let me come in here and talk to my fellow gamers. Let me turn this down in the back. Shout out to everybody in this joint. Spur in the moment. Do me a favor. You'd be so kind to hit the like button. Tweet it out. We're gonna have a little fun today. A little bit of fun. Just a little weeny. Say pretty. We got a little bit of fun today. While the room is filling up, we're gonna have some fun. I promise you. We are going to have some fun. Let me top my hair up in the back. I think I cut my hair, man. We're gonna have some fun. We are going to have some fun. All right. There we go. So what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen? Good evening, good afternoon. A shout out. So I'm sure we give a couple of shout outs while the room was filling up. My man Cypher, man, what's going on, good brother? Panther Crane, what's going on? So that 8.4 T flop potato, $400. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, man. Mr. Urban World, what's going on? I'm all iced out, waiting on the show to begin. Yeah, the real Jermaine James. Who cares? All right. PSN down. How many pixel difference? 4 million? Let's talk. Scottish Smurf's my dude, man. Scottish Smurf, my dude, man. Smurf, what's up, baby? Keith Spencer, what's going on, man? Shout out to you guys, man. You know what I mean? My man Scottish Smurf. I ain't seen you online. I've been streaming a little bit. I ain't seen you in the comment section a little bit, man. Like I said, we're gonna have some fun. I got a bleach stain. Jesus, I dropped the bottle of bleach. It was right here. The hell I'm at. It's over here. I'm a little ahead of you guys in the live stream. But anyway, like I said, do me a favor as you're joining in. Do me a big favor. Hit the like button. It costs you nothing, man. You know what I mean? Hit the like button. Like I said, it's getting obvious or a little. What's going on? I'm shut up, my bros. Hey, Post, what's up, Post? Hop in here with me, baby. You can hop in if you want. You guys can hop in. You know, we're gonna have some fun today. Oh man, Cypher Man said next gen don't look like it's running too good on D's machine. We're gonna talk about the Star Wars Battlefront 2. And I remember last year when the Xbox One X was announced. You know what I mean? When it was announced, and a lot of people were saying that it can't do native 4K. You remember? Well, Mark Sony said you need 8.4 teraflops to do true 4K. Remember that? I can't figure. It's probably what the specs of Sony's next console is going to be, right? Because that's like he said, you need true 8.4 teraflops. So I probably the PlayStation 5 probably be about 8.5 T flops or something like that. I say between 8 and 10, but they do true 4K, right? You guys, do me a favor. Like I said, hit the like button. You can't do native 4K, and no one said the X can do it. You know, no one said no way in hell that the Xbox, because I have a GTX power sword and I can't get 4K. You know what I mean? And I remember me saying again, like I always tell you guys, my opinion is my opinion, and I'm not claiming to be, Bill Gates when it comes to tech, but I know the basic stuff. And I always tell you guys, since I've been doing YouTube, I've met a few people within the gaming industry. Like some of you guys get it now, some of you guys don't. It doesn't even matter anymore. That's not even the important part anymore, right? And I even went back and forth with a few Xbox guys about this. And I told guys, I said, what's out right now, what we've been playing for the last 3 years since 2013, the Xbox One can run those games at 4K in native. You know what I mean? This was what was told to me. You know what I mean? But a lot of people were saying that, being that Sony is the market leader, the industry leader in sales, that developers are not going to go out of their way to eke out that extra performance, right? And just not even being a tech guy, just to me, it's basic sense. First of all, developers, you do have some developers that are lazy. I want to throw it out there right there. You know what I mean? You have, that's not going to go above and beyond. But more likely than not, a lot of times developers want their games shown in the best light possible. But when it comes to APIs and software development tools and what might again, they're a software company and they spend billions of dollars into this stuff. You know what I mean? I know, and I used to use the whole Windows UWP, some of my fanboy arguments, you know what I mean? But the fact that they can make one game with one code that can scale either up or down. You remember you had the guy, what's his name, Sweeney from Epic, was complaining how Microsoft was trying to, stronghold, put gaming in the headlock or whatever when that came out. Oh, and they were like, oh, Microsoft anti-gamer, they trying to lock everything. What they was talking about because he was complaining about this Windows UWP. Literally, they can make one game with one code, and it can, it can scale up or scale down on all Windows 10 devices. You know what I mean? So they, so they're not really going out of their way. But developers have only had their hands really on the Xbox One X hardware there for about 6 months, 5 months. You know what I mean? And this is just a small indication of what's to come. What are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, let's think about this, right? So we see shout out to my man Quintana Wilson. Quintana, I haven't seen you in a long time. Shout out to you, bro. I haven't seen you in a long. This one, I mean, I had to go back to when I first had my Zaire 720 channel, man. So I was just in my beard of red hair. So back to what I was saying. So he was complaining about how Microsoft is trying to take over gaming, right? And there's little moves, and I will give credit where there's little moves that Microsoft made behind the scenes, right? Now, I always said this, that Sony is a hardware company, and the fact that they make things, this is what pays the bills for them. Microsoft's more of a software company. Y'all know this. Software, network, internet, and all that stuff. This is what it pays the bills for them. You know what I mean? And I see a lot. I'm looking at the comments on Digital Foundry, and I'm reading the comments. A lot of pro PlayStation guys were up there were saying that Sony made a mistake with the Pro. The Pro is a mistake. And if you go back to the original documents, the dev, when they got leaked, and some developers were begging for more RAM. Now you're starting to see why more than anything, because again, with the Pro, you can either get a higher resolution, and if you're lucky, maybe get or a higher resolution, or it's a trade-off. You can get better textures, right? Better graphics. What I'm saying, right? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit the like button for me, please. I'm not gonna be here too long. So, listen here. The Xbox One X has been out literally about 10 days. Today's 17, about 10 days. 10, today the 18th, whatever the case may be. Today's 18th, 11 days. You know what I mean? And we're starting to see these these standoffs, these comparisons on Digital Foundry, and other sites are starting to do it too. And it's like, listen, did you see Star Wars Battlefront? I think the highest the Pro version goes 1440p. So what the brute force part of the GPU is, it's rendering 50% more pixels on the screen. That's not even getting into the textures and shadows and 50% more pixels on the screen. Baby, that's a lot of mustard on the hot dog. I asked this question last week. Is the Pro irrelevant now? You know what I mean? Do you still go out and buy the Pro? Now, some of you guys may be new to my channel. Mr. Urban World, shout out to you. I have a Pro, and one of the big knocks I had against the Pro, because I told you guys, I didn't get better graphics. I was looking for those visuals, and I didn't get it. I could have just kept what I had. And then Sony themselves said, hey, you don't need we give you HDR on the Slim. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I think, like I said, as far as Xbox guys, I know we keep talking about the console and the power. And for those of you that don't have one, and like I said, these videos on YouTube don't do any justice. You know what I mean? I was playing Assassin's Creed last night for hours. Like I'm really loving an Assassin's. I haven't liked an Assassin's Creed game since probably about Assassin's Creed 2. That's the last one that I enjoyed. These videos don't do it any justice. They don't. You know what I mean? It's the combination of the 4K with the HDR and the textures, literally. Like I was just talking about my little bro last night, Garrett, King's Blood Gaming. Shout out to him, right? And he been all on his PC thing. Literally, this is a big deal. Never as console gamers have we ever got this type of performance in the console as far as graphics and I don't really, I'm not a big resolution guy. You know what I mean? It's cool. We talk about it here, but I'm all about the graphics, man. You know what I mean? And we never seen this before in a console. You know what I mean? For those that are downplaying and say they have, there's no big deal. They're lying. I would say, be careful of those that come dressed in sheep's clothing. They're lying. Any YouTuber pro channel that you may rock out with and saying it's not that big of a deal, or it's a minor upgrade, they're lying. Because now it's the same channel was making a big deal between 900p to 1080p. Think about that. Just a few years ago, it was a huge deal from 900p to 1080p. But it's not a big deal from 1440p to, that's the highest it get, more or less. Just be honest, the PS4 Pro is a 1440p console. It is what it is, right? To 4K, 2160p. I put in a sampled Shadow of War. My God, my God, my God! What are we doing here? Let me grab my phone. Hold on, man. What are we doing here? Close this. What are we doing here? Like, it's serious. Like, what are we doing here? Here I come. Hold up. Oh shit. Oh, here we go. We back cooking. We back cooking. You know what I mean? So, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? It's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. It's huge. And he's gonna say, you know what? When I was shot to Fonzarelli and Nethus and all those guys all day, I heard K-Maker had a meltdown last night on GRG. I gotta check it out, right? So I got my man White King Kong. Like, you know what I mean? It's a huge difference, All jokes aside, what does Sony do? Honestly, just think, what do they do? Where do they go from here? When does the PlayStation 5 release? You know what I mean? Because you guys just got the PS4 Pro last year, right? So do they stand the risk of releasing more hardware, becoming like Sega, like Sega did with the 32X and then the Sega CD and then the Saturn, and then, you know what I mean? They're going to stand the chance of releasing too much hardware. Because this thing is about to get uglier than a Masterpiece sneaker. Literally. This is about to get ugly than a Masterpiece sneaker. Microsoft put their foot in this console, bro. I remember, again, I tell you, see, next thing, you always tell the same stories. Because when I say it, you guys don't believe me. I told you guys, when it comes to hardware, again, Microsoft will not be outdone. And I heard this, like I said, Bill Gates said something on that Teddy interview, and then from a certain developer guy that I know, he was like, when it comes to they're not going to be outgunned again. You know what I mean? Now, people say, who got the better games? Listen, I give you right now, Sony has the better exclusives by far. But I ask you this, right? And it's not even no damage control, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really, with Microsoft next year, I like State of Decay 2. Of course, I'm gonna get Forza Horizon 4. I hope we get a Killer Instinct Season 4. You know what I mean? Crackdown, no, probably not. I'm gonna get it, but I don't think that's the answer way. But you know what I mean? Sea of Thieves, you know how I feel about that. Yeah. Sony has the better exclusives. But again, I'm asking listen, as great as Spider-Man may be, God of War may be, No Days Gone, will any of those games outsell Red Dead Redemption on any platform? You see where I'm going with this, right? Sony, for the first 3 years, to be honest here, first 3.5 years, they have the better version of the multiplats. I will give them that. They had the superior version of the multiplats. They didn't have any exclusives. No, you guys had Bloodborne and The Last of Us Remastered until Uncharted came out. All right? That's a facts. So no spin here. You know what I mean? But again, how the narrative is trying to change. But, they ain't got no games. Fine. You know what I mean? I got too many games right now to play. I have too many games right now to play. I still haven't put in either within two. I'm still on, the Gears. There's so much going on right now. I got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. There's so much going on right now. God damn, that's a beautiful console. That console, my God, my God, my God. Woo! It's serious, man. I don't think you guys understand. You guys don't understand. If you have a 4K television, listen, I heard it looks amazing on 1080p TV. I don't know. I can't speak to that. You know what I mean? I got the KS9000 behind me. I can't speak to that. I can't attest to that. But if you have a 4K TV with HDR, and I was talking to Garrett and someone else yesterday, I was talking to Garrett for sure. I can't go back. Listen, you see this? I can't go back to this. I can't go back to this. Ain't no more playing this. No, I can't. I can't. I was gonna put this thing in the living room, you know, just for a 4K Blu-ray player. Maybe play a little 2K now and then. I'm lying to myself. That shit ain't getting plugged back up. How do you go from the X to the S? Well, how do you go from the X to the Pro? How, Sway? How do you go from the X to the S? Shout out to my brother Jesse, right? White boy Jesse, it's my brother, right? It's my dude. He's a diehard Sony fanboy. He told me last night in confidence when the cameras were off, right? The mics and everything, everything was, he said, Z, I'm a pony, man, and I can't go back to the Pro. The only thing, I'm like you, it would be just for exclusives. It's that big of a difference, man. I'm just being honest. And start with Battlefront 2. Like I said, this is a Sony, Sony paid a lot of money for that life, for the marketing deal. Kudos to them. You know what I mean? We're talking about, at a minimum, 50% more pixels on the screen at any given time. And they haven't even maxed this box out yet, ladies and gentlemen. The Pro's been on the market for a year, right? So with the Pro, what you see is what you get. You're not going to get any better than that, all right? This console's been out for 10 days. And right now, as we speak, at a minimum, is 50% more pixels on the screen at any given time. So where does Sony go from here? Do they release the PlayStation 5? What do they do? In all honesty, what's this 20? It's about to be 2018, it's 2017. So you might see a PS5 in 2020, 2021, because again, we just got a mid-gen refresh, last year in 2016. So, you got 4.2 teraflops in 2016. So that should hold you over another 4 years, right? So I'm gonna be honest with you, Sony's really shouldn't be in a rush to release more hardware because that costs them money. And they make their money off of software sales. And it's still selling, you know what I mean? But when it comes to these multiplats, these face-off, it's about to get uglier than a masterpiece sneaker. It's about to get uglier than a masterpiece sneaker. Call me a snob. Call me an Xbox. Call me a horrible father. A horrible husband. Call me an atheist. Say next thing you have lost your way. And I say, hey, you may be right. But I know one thing. Show us the sun is hot. Show us my ass is black. Ain't no going from the X to the S. Matter of fact, ain't no going from the X to the Pro. It's not even a low mo. Woo! So I didn't want to come here and talk. I didn't want to come here and strut. I didn't want to do that. This video was not about that today, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to come in inform those, inform the masses, man. Well, what's really going on right now? Top Dog, you my man. Listen, man, you my man, Top Dog. But sometime, Top, you got to know when to roll them and when to fold them. Top Dog. Hey, Trump, man. All right, so listen, man? What do you listen? All right, so you're the only Mexican I know voted for Trump. What are you talking about in the comment section? What I'm saying is not the truth. Maybe you may not be. Maybe you may think Sony has the better exclusives. Fine, all that is subjective. But one thing we do share are the multiplats. And my God, that is a lot of power. That's a lot of power. My man Chris Jones, the soda's real. He said, I got tap water in a fancy bottle. He said, that I say, your grandmother has a fat ass. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my man Post will come. Let my man Post get in right quick, man. I'm just saying this, man. At the end of the day, I'm going to say this right before I get the hell up out of here. Listen, like I said, man, shout out to my super chat family, man. You guys be holding me down because I don't get any money from these shows. I don't get paid from the regardless. Shout out to my Patreon supporters, man. Shout out to you guys. I mean, shout out to you guys that get behind and believe in the brand. What I'm trying to put together with the broadband bullies. But I got to say this before I get the hell up out of here. At the end of the day, when my heart can beat no more, I just hope I die for a belief or a principle that I once lived for. I would die before my time, niggas. I felt the shadows of death. It's so much I wanted to play. On that motherfucking X. Yo, that console was serious, man. That console is serious, bro. Now this ain't no spin. This ain't no job. I'm telling you the truth. It feels like I'll give you an example. I'm gonna quit this. You remember? All right, real talk. Oh, no trolling here. Real shit, right? Remember when it started the generation 2013 or whatever, or when you got your brand new next generation console, whether the PS3 or PS4, the Xbox, any generation, you got a new console and you're blown away by the new graphics and stuff. That's how I feel. And I never got that feeling for the Pro. I got that feeling for the PS4, but I didn't get that feeling for the Pro, okay? So you don't think that I'm biased. Rezo Gun I was on, I had you guys know I get everything. And the PS4 came out a week before the Xbox One. I never got that feeling with the Pro. All right. So for those who think, oh no, it's just I'm not a fan of too much. You not a that's that hate. Oh, I'm not a fan of mid-gen refreshes. Listen, that Xbox One, even though X is a mid-gen refresh, it doesn't behave like one. You know what I mean? Post, we in Post?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sorry, man. I went off on a tangent right now.
No, it's good, man. You're preaching, brother. You're definitely talking that shit, man. All facts.
Yeah, like I said before, like I got the PS4, and I equate this to again. You know what I mean? This ain't no spin here. This ain't no job. That when you first got your PS3, whatever generation, whether it be the Super Nintendo or anything, when you get that new console feel, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I didn't feel that with the Pro. I didn't feel that with the S. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't feel that with the S. I didn't feel that with the Pro. I felt that in 2013 when I got the PS4 and I got the original Xbox One. I didn't feel that way. Well, with the X, it feels like Christmas. You get up,
reinvigorated. Your game prowess is
it's serious, man.
It hasn't been like that. It hasn't been like that this generation. And what I want to say is, a lot of people going on to Digital Foundry and they're watching 1080p comparison footage of the X and the PS4 Pro and saying on par. I told you on par. No, you cannot go on YouTube and look at compressed 1080p footage and then judge this system on that and that alone. No, you have to have this system in your face on a great 4K TV with that HDR, and your mind is gonna be blown away. And people say, "Oh, it's about resolution again." Look, we come from the OG Xbox, bruh. Get kicked off with the OG Xbox, outpowering the PS2. When games like Splinter Cell was exclusive to the OG Xbox for a while, simply for the fact that it was only able to be capable of being produced on the original Xbox. Then they finally brought it over to the PS2, but when it came over to the PS2, it looked terrible. So it's always been about great graphics and stuff like that. If you started in the OG Xbox days, come on now, this ain't nothing new to us.
Yeah,
you feel me? But that X though,
it's serious, bro.
Hey, and people say I'm lying, but like Next Gen said, you go to some of these comment sections on these YouTube channels, you go to NeoGAF, you go to Reset Era, you go to all these forums, man, and you see a lot of hardcore PlayStation fans who has the system singing a different tune and being honest with themselves. This is not something that you have to make up or that we have to make up. You can go see and read for yourself. I cannot go back to 1080p gaming, period.
Hey, bro, you sound like a snob.
I can't. I mean, once you get a taste of what this system is doing, and look, this is just enhanced games. They only had the dev kits for 5 months. They had to meet the Xbox One X launch on the 7th, meaning devs probably really didn't spend a lot of time really tweaking these enhancements. They just put it over what they did on the Pro, did a little tweak just to make the launch date. So we're not even scratching the surface of we haven't seen what this system is capable of doing, period. You cannot judge this system by enhanced games because they pretty much just put it over what they did to the Pro just to make launch.
Yeah.
So think a year or two down the line when they really get their hands on it, it's for to be wild. It's for to be crazy. And and like Z was saying, if everybody's saying the PS5 in 2019 and something, do Sony really want to saturate the market like that with hardware? Yeah. You know, with the PS4 Slim still selling great, the PS4 Pro is doing what it's doing. Are you really for to put out another system and then stop manufacturing the system that's outselling your mid-gen refresh? Because the base PS4 is outselling the Pro. So you mean to tell me in a couple years you finna stop doing that? Especially if it's still selling well, I don't think so.
No, well, here's the thing. Like, and again, you're the tech guy. You're a mass, right? Yeah. And I said like the Pro's been out for a year, right? Yeah. The Xbox One X has been out on the market for 11 days. So we're basically seeing what we're going to get from the Pro, as far as with developers. Now, I don't know if that's because of I'm not trying to I'm not saying I'm the tech guy, but I heard. Like when it comes to developing games for the Pro, they have to do something like it's like 2 games, 2 codes, more or less. Maybe it may not take them longer, you know what I mean, or whatever the case. But like I said, as far as Microsoft, because they can make 1 game, 1 code, and I heard it's not like that with the Pro. But and again, I don't know why. And here's the thing. Now maybe you can break this down for me and for the audience. 4.2 teraflops. I'm talking about that as a casual standpoint. We went from the Xbox. The original Xbox 2013 was 1.3, PS4 was 1.8, right? And the Pro came out last year was 4.2 T-flops, right? So, and again, that's a big step up from what we previously had. So me, from a casual gamer, and I told you I put the C in casual, sometimes the C in Caucasian, right? Yeah. I was expecting a leap forward as far as the visuals, and we didn't get that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Will that ever come with the Pro?
It depends on if Sony allowed developers to turn loose. I know when the Pro was first announced, I think Sony had stipulations in there in regards to developers creating taking advantage of that full 4.2 teraflops. I think it was from what I can remember, it was stipulations in there preventing developers from really going all out with the system. Because I know with some of the base PS4 titles, half of the GPU kind of cuts itself off. They get like half the system resource to mimic the base mimic the base PS4.
Okay, and then you gotta remember. Okay, talk to me. Man.
So from what I can remember, it was a stipulation there that Sony provided that developers weren't gonna really be able to make PS4 Pro based games, really taking full control of their 4 teraflop GPU. I think at some point they're gonna have to let them go wild on it. Microsoft came in with the X and said, "Hey, look, you guys can do what you want on the X. You can do better frame rates on the X, even at the expense of the Xbox One S and the OG Xbox One." They say, "Hey, you can go wild." Sony at this point don't allow that in regards to the developers, so they kind of hindered as far as taking control of that 4.2 teraflop GPU. Also, when you do upgrades like that, they upgraded the GPU and they had an increase into the memory bandwidth, but they should have gave the developers that extra memory because it would have removed. It's still a bottleneck there. You know what I'm saying?
CPU with the Jaguar.
Yeah, the Jaguar, the GPU, and then the memory bandwidth. If you got parts of the system that's moving faster than other parts of the system, and loads have to wait, then that's what create bottlenecks. When parts of a system move faster than other parts, and these parts gotta wait. So they gotta wait. They sit there, they want to move, they want to go, they want to move fast, they want to get on to the next, but they gotta wait. And that's what it is with the PS4 Pro. But I think down the line, Sony is going to have to let them loose on that Pro if they want to try to, minimize that gap in the game performance and the graphical fidelity in regards to future games.
All right, hold on one second. I want to take it to the comment section real quick, right? Two things. RXL, he said, I can't believe there are still gamers that think either of these consoles have a single native 4K game. There's several native 4K games. Madden, 2K, Killer Instinct, Injustice. There's several native 4K games on both platforms.
Yeah, Shadow of War is native 4K.
There's a few of them.
That's native 4K.
Record native 4K.
Now what? And that's another thing. Microsoft specifically said, and we got to clear this up right here. If a game comes out and it's doing 1800p or it's doing 1440p on the Xbox One X, you cannot contribute that to the hardware. You cannot contribute that to the system. Stop it. Microsoft specifically said developers can choose to build and take advantage of the system however they want. If they choose to create a game and target a specific resolution or frames, it's not that the system is incapable of doing 4K 60. It's what the developers chose. And now we have this thing out where everybody's saying, "Oh, they're looking at these multi-platform games. Oh, the Xbox is doing this. It was supposed to do 4K." Nah, they never said 4K 60 on every game. And Microsoft can't force third-party developers to commit to a certain resolution or frame. They're not going to do that. So developers is going to take hold of the system however they choose fit. And if it comes out a game that's 1800p, 60 or whatever, then you go holler at the developer to ask why they chose to use their resources like that. Don't try to blame the Xbox One X because the system is a true 4K system. It is capable of running games at 4K 60. Now, whether the developers take advantage of that and hit those targets, that's on them.
Yeah, well, shout out. We'll take it back to the chat again. Chris Jones. Here's the thing, Chris Jones. Like real talk. And first of all, shout out to you. I always see you come by the show. So, if you feel like I'm being ignorant, I probably am. Or being a little disrespectful, I probably am too. But let's check it out. Right. First of all, I want to thank you for swinging by the show. He said, I see Fonzarelli going back and forth with them. You know what I mean? He basically says, Horizon Zero Dawn looks better than anything on the X.
Oh, here we go.
Now listen, right? Real talk, right? At the end of the day, right? And Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm not, it's a nice looking game. I'm not going to sit there and take it away from the voice acting. So that the sound I think is horrible, but it's a nice looking game. But honestly, this is subjective. Look at Gears of War, the campaign with those 4K textures. You understand what I'm saying? Or even look at Shadow of War. Look at Assassin's Creed on the X. I'm being honest. You know what I mean? I don't know how you can say, maybe the art style, but if you got something that has 4K textures, like a game like, again, Gears of War, the campaign.
Yo, what game?
Star Wars, the campaign.
Yes, sir.
I'm not talking about whether you like the game and all that is subjective. Star Wars, Battlefront 2 on the Xbox One Enhanced, looks better than Horizon Zero Dawn graphically. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest with you. Like that's
people sleep on that Gears, man. I don't.
That campaign, they can't.
I don't know a game out.
I told you when I tell y'all, right? When I went down my grandmother's house, right? When I played it, and my cousin got his early, and I said that's probably the Gears. It was probably the best looking game I've seen graphically this generation. Now I know I like Gears. I'm a Gears of War fan, but I'm just talking about graphically. That campaign, my God, the one with those big robots, like you see the particle effects, you see the lightning.
Yeah, you tweaking.
Listen. Now again, I'm not saying that this is better than any. No, that's not what I'm saying. Well, I'm just talking about graphics and pure what's going on in the background. Like that game is beautiful in action.
It's not really another game out right now that's doing all of that and at once. Like you got it. If you see Gears at 4K 30 right now, the campaign with the 4K textures, it's on a whole different level. Alongside of the particle effects, stuff that's going in the background, the wind, the physics, stuff getting knocked over. Name a game that's doing all of that and looking like that at that target resolution.
Hold on 1 second.
There's no other game now that's doing that.
Shout out to my man Thomas Fry, iPhone user. Just drop $2 in the super chat. I appreciate it, brother. You know what I mean? Like I said, for those, I didn't even know that if you had an iPhone, you could support the super chat. Never knew that. Someone say, "Hey, Nick, I can't want to donate to the live stream. I can't." So you know what I mean? That's why.
Mass, what's your opinion on it?
Mass in here?
I'm in here.
Oh, okay. What's going on, good brother? I haven't heard from you. What's going on, Mass?
What's happening?
Now listen. It's my brother Maslin in post. Now I'm quite sure that you saw the Digital Foundry square off with Star Wars Battlefront 2. And shout out to D. And also too, they was running the X against the GTX 1080. If I'm not mistaken. And
usually,
how much is that card? $600, $700?
$600.
All right. Now listen. Think about this, right? Now I want you got Master, you're more of a PC guy, right? You got a console, again, a closed in a box for $500. You got that card alone for $600. Just the card alone, $600. That's not including your CPU, your motherboard, your casing, your RAM. $600, right? About $15. Look, we're talking about listen. For that console to be going, that $5 console to be going up against that GTX 1080i, it did a damn good job. You know what I mean? Like literally. You know what I mean? Literally. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I watched the video and frame rate, which was hilarious to me that people were in the comment section talking about the PS4 Pro has a better frame rate, because even if you watch the video, like the frame pacing, it would drop to like 58, I think, once, and that was for like a millisecond. So like it was basically 60 frames per second. PS4 Pro dropped 59, 58 a couple times. It was the same thing. He said it maintained 60 more often. Okay, but it was also pushing much less resolution and much less textures. So that is a completely that was just a stupid argument to be having in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that games that are built with DirectX 12 in mind are performing like this right now just says to me that the X will continue to make strides and benefit from games that are now going to be built like this from now on. Because up until around this October of 2016, give or take, Microsoft was fully 100% supporting DirectX 11 still, like 100%.
Yes,
100%. It was still being pushed as the primary thing, and Microsoft has now shifted to DirectX 12 only.
Hold that thought. I want to ask something right now. Hold on, right now. Listen, now again, you guys, I'm not the tech guy, right? But something again that was kind of told to me, as far as like even including with the ESRAM, that basically it was kind of broke down. The Xbox One X or the Xbox One period wasn't really built for DirectX 11. It was more of a hindrance than anything. It would run, would perform better, like I said, with DirectX 12. You know what I mean? And a lot of like engines, you know what I mean, or whatever the case are. Well, I guess they're going to start to phase it out. Were DirectX 11. You know what I mean? There was some guy. I was a fly on the wall in the conversation. You know what I mean? And even before like the X or the Pro was announced, they were saying that of course, the games that are built with DirectX 12 or whatever the case, the console, this would perform better. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, would help out this, that Jaguar, CPU, whatever the case may be. Like,
well, I get to put this in layman's terms. What DirectX 12 excels at is putting more information into the same amount of space. So they do a lot of like more or less like overall picture. You take a new game and you program certain pixels into certain spaces, and you have like a layered structure. You have a map more or less of where everything will go, and each individual set of parameters will have its own designation. DirectX 12 excels at putting all those things into layers, but it can be accessed the same exact way. So it's fast, or it's faster in getting to certain bytes of information because they're all in certain same cluster types.
Oh, so it's not before. It was like what I go, you go. Now they can all go at the same time. Something like that.
That's what DirectX 12 does. Like DirectX 11 was like a single pipe, more or less. DirectX 12, right? It was a single pipe. A/B has a little branching connection. DirectX 12 is like making a valve system, more or less. You can quickly access the same amount of pressure just by opening different valves. That's the best way to break it down, like as simple as I can think of it. Like, but that's more or less what DirectX 12 does.
It's also built for It's also built for multi-core processing.
Yeah, that's what it was really designed for. Like, that's why it layers everything. That's why it stacks all the stuff into these certain like core spectrum like pieces, so that they can be accessed faster because different processors are asking for the same thing. And since the multi-core processors have the ability to snatch different places at the same time, or snatch a different place from the same time at the same time, it's better if all those things are in the same place. So it's all going through the same pipeline. You want to render the textures and the shadows for this one singular scene all at one time, rather than snatching it from different clusters where these shadows are, these textures are, and then making it into one coordinated picture. You're taking it all from the layers that are all sitting on top of each other. So you're accessing all from the same point, but getting all the information at the same time.
And guess what?
So it's just faster pipeline.
Developers are not accustomed to building games, multi-core games. Usually you have a processor with 6 core. The game's only be taking that 1 core. It's only all the stress is put
that was
on
a hustle,
1 core.
Right? They was telling me that you paying for. I got a 9 core, but you only using 1 core.
You only using 1 core.
For sure.
But now DirectX 12 is going to allow them to spread, and they got to learn this now. They got to learn how to build games around using multiple cores and things like that. And what was that previous developer? He was the first one that came out. He created that Star Citizen. Yeah, he was his engine was one of the first DX12 based engine that was using multiple cores, and the game was built around multiple cores. So once that happens, Then the CPU things where people saying, well, Jaguar is trash. Well, once they're able to spread that data across those multiple cores, it'll be less stress on that one core when you're using 7 cores instead of 1. So that the CPU will come in handy at some point.
Well, I got a question.
Just do real quick. So reality check, which is probably Truth Hurts and 19 other people because they all sound like they type the same type of bullshit. So,
he said I was wrong about, so I didn't go back.
He said you're wrong about the Xbox One X being 4K 60 FPS uncompromised, whatever. He said I'm running a Battlefront 2 with ultra settings on my GTX 970.
What?
Why do you like K Mega? He has a better computer than you. Never ever in your life, as a person, talk about graphical fidelity.
He got a GTX 970, and he said it's outperforming the X.
He said he can run it at ultra settings at 1080p.
He's lying.
And no, it doesn't. No, you missed the part where I said at 1080p. So the fact that you're running it at ultra settings at 1080p is not outperforming the X visually. I don't care what you say. No matter what you say.
How much is that card? $30? Like, what is that?
Who's that reality check?
Yeah,
that brother need to check his reality right now, bro, because he's somewhere else with it.
No, we are in whole agreement. He said yourself that resolution doesn't give you better graphics. That is a true statement, but it's not just the resolution on the X that's better. Like the resolution combined with the textures,
the HDR.
Literally, in the Digital Foundry video where they were using a capable graphics card, they said you would get more density in foliage. That's the difference, and shadows at a distance. That's the difference. That's what they said in the Digital Foundry video. This is all based on the Digital Foundry video, and not even on my own direct analysis. This is all from the video. So you're saying you're at 1080p.
He just gave himself another L.
More foliage.
He talking about what happened to PC Ultra settings, bruh. They never stated every game will run that Ultra PC settings. And it's a couple games. Even Fortnite was already announced. X1 Enhanced Ultra PC settings. There's a couple games on there that's been hands that is running at either high end or Ultra PC settings, bro.
And this is the crazy thing is that even the settings that it is running at, like literally, they probably turned down foliage and shadow quality. Or something like they didn't turn down everything. So I don't know how many of the settings are at ultra, how many of them aren't. I don't know how many of your settings on your GTX 970 are at ultra and how many aren't.
Hey yo, first of all, but here's the $2 question, bro. Like, first of all, and I mean this is disrespectful. It was like, if you have a dog shit PC, but a 970, what year did they come out? 2011 or something, like, bro. But at the end of the day, bro, like, you're bugging. Like, it's still like, that's what I don't understand. You know what I mean? You know, like, what is your hate? Listen, that's coming from pure hate. Either you're hating on this console. This is an amazing piece of technology here. For a console,
people should be happy. This is going to really push the industry forward. This is really going to make Sony put out their next system to be a monster. And I'm not. Hey, whatever Sony got coming out next is going to be a monster. And it's going to be based off the fact that Microsoft came out with this X. People should want that.
Also, real quick, just so Top Dog can stop running to the wall head first like he's been doing. You are also banned from talking about graphical settings because you said you bought Mulitplats on the PS4. So, considering you be talking about how great your PC is and how it destroys everything, and you bought Star Wars Battlefront or anything else
on the PS4,
you are automatically negated from talking about anything graphical. Ever again. Anything being better on anything, you have immediately killed that for 1,000%. Immediately. I buy all my Multiplats on my PC unless I'm about to play with my boys. And even then, I still buy them on my PC because they're cheaper.
I gotta say this: if you guys are mad now for some simple enhanced games that probably took maybe anywhere from a gig to a 13 gigabyte or even more than that file increase, a patch. Oh man, if you mad now at these enhanced games, just think in a year or so, you guys gonna be tying a noose around your neck or something. Like this is enhanced titles.
Hey, bro, you bugging. He said, could you please put a screenshot of Horizon Zero Dawn? Bro, listen. Listen, it doesn't listen, bro. Listen. You got one goddamn game. Like again, I'm not saying what game is better. That's not the argument. But you're just talking about the textures and the ad sets that are in Gears of War alone. Like literally. Stuff you can't even see that in Horizon. Like that game is beautiful. Like you can't even tell the whole picture again from a screenshot. You know what I mean? It's a more powerful console. Like I don't even understand what is your argument here, bro. Like you know what I mean?
Like, Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't have 4K textures.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's the same thing in Bang Bang. These dudes started putting up pictures of the Final Fantasy comparison, where the man in the video clearly says that the PS4 Pro textures look a little off, like they haven't been updated correctly, but the Xbox One X is clearly the place to play this game. Until about 2 months when the PC version comes out, and then it'll kill both of them. But as of right now, the X is the best place to play that game.
And look,
period. That is not a maybe, this is not an if, that's just a fact.
And what's so crazy about this is that a lot of these enhancements, they're not specific to the X. These are enhancements that was already set for the Pro that the developers are just porting over to the X. And just based on the hardware alone, they're seeing significant improvements on those patches. The same patches that these titles are getting on the X, the Pro got probably a year ago.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is you see the disparity between the two even more in new games, like new games that come out or games that come out with a patch now, like that are coming out with a patch right this second for the PS4 Pro. You'll see the disparity between those two because they made the patch for the X and then scaled it to the PS4 Pro. The games where the PS4 Pro already had a patch, you'll see a similar patch that the power of the system just pushes to a new advantage. You'll see just a similar patch. You'll see the difference in the older games somewhat because if they already had a PS4 Pro patch. But the ones that are getting patches now because the X is out, you see a more substantial difference between those two games and the patches that come out for those two games because it's specifically designed for the X.
I put it like this. This is the experience you get when you go to the X, and the reason why people don't want to go back to even the Pro or even the S. I'm not saying that's all, but a lot of people are saying this. You know how you go when we came out of the OG era and we went into the 360 era, right? You're seeing these amazing graphics and high fidelity first the HD era, first time. We're like, wow. When you go back to the OG Xbox, the games don't look the same. Like when you first played the OG Xbox game, it looked amazing. But when you went to the 360 era, when you went back, you can really see how, like, was I really playing the game looking like this? Yeah. That's how it is with the X. Once you play on the X and you go back to the S or the Pro, you can see more of the inconsistencies in the game. Like, was I really playing this? I gotta go answer my door. Y'all go ahead.
Hold on. I got you right now, D. For my iPhone users that want to support the super chat. There you go. Here you go to the link again. Hold on. I got you right now, good brother. I got you right now, D. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, at the end of the day, I was talking. Actually, me and Garrett was talking about it last night, and I was like, bro, you know what I mean? Because I still got my, still got my S or whatever. You know what I mean? And I said, look, I'm gonna break this down again for those who are just joining, right? And this is no job, no spin. And why, I'm excited. Well, for those who that may not have one, if you're just going by the videos that you see on the YouTube, trust me, you're not getting the full picture here, right? But I equate getting the X's the same way I felt when I went from the 360 to the Xbox One. I went from the PS3 to the PS4. I felt like oh my God. I didn't get that same feeling with the Xbox One S, and I didn't get that same feeling with the Pro. But with the Xbox One X, it literally feels like, it's a new generation. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that new console feel, you be excited. I can't wait to play. I got so much to play. Put everything as how it looks. And that's what I'm feeling. And the same feeling that I have now is what I expected to get from the Pro, and I never got that. You know what I mean? And for those, well, it's just a mid-gen refresh. What do you think? Fine. The X is a mid-gen refresh, but literally, it feels like a brand new. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not like it's oh, you just no. I'm not trolling. Like, this is the God's honest truth. Like, you know what I mean? If you call yourself a gamer or whatever the case, or if you're on the fence, or if you're planning to get the Xbox One X, right, or getting the Xbox period, and you don't have an Xbox, and you know that's like, especially if you have a 4K TV. Now I heard it looks amazing on the standard PS4. I mean, on the standard TV. I don't know, but don't like no. There's no.
Are you talking about the downsampling?
Yeah, I'm just talking about, you know, for those some people, you know, say I'm gonna get some people like I'm gonna get the S, you know what I mean? That was $200, and they don't have an Xbox. Listen, I don't know your financial situation. Like, you're literally cheating yourself if you think it's not that big of a deal and you'd be okay with the S. Some people think it's just a bump up in resolution. Like you said, no, it's the textures. Listen, all around, literally. Seriously, you know what I mean? This is a man. You know what I mean?
No lie. I have seen I'll be reading. I've seen quite a bit of people who have 1080p TVs that has the X that have been posting screens, and those 1080p super sample screenshots looked amazing, bro. Like, if you don't think that you need a 4K TV for this, because even the people with 1080p TVs that brought this system is like, wow. It's like, wow, bro. So even if you got a 1080p TV or 4K TV, it doesn't matter. Your games are going to look great. I was just on NeoGAF, and the guy was posting 1080p super sample pictures from different games, and it looked crazy. The texture, the everything looked amazing. I'm like, that's 1080p? You know what I'm saying? So
what's up?
I'm sorry. Hey, I'm quite sure. Did you see the Digital Foundry showdown between the Star Wars Battlefront?
Yeah, that's the first thing I watched this morning. First, before I get into that, how do I sound? Because I'm not using the mic. I'm using the
sound good.
Yeah, you good.
You sound like the man is living his life as a transition. You know, you good, bro. Talk to me.
Gotta live my truth.
My truth.
What's going on, D?
Yeah, man. So I watched it, and man, okay. First, I gotta tell you my own experience. So I'm gonna be real truthful with you guys here. So I pre-ordered both the Xbox One X version and the PC version. I pre-ordered them at E3. They had some deal, like you pay like $40, you get them, right? So as it was coming close to the release, I'm like, oh, okay, which version do I get? What version do I keep? What version does it keep? I was like mulling over this like 2 days ago. I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with the PC version just because I got a high-end rig and I have EA access on my Xbox One X. And, you know, the game will go down in price. I'll probably get it, like, you know, close to Christmas time. So I fire up my Star Wars Battlefront on the PC. Fucking shit. So many issues. It was going to like the launch screen, and it was just closing down, or I would get a black screen, all kinds of shit. Had to go to the forums. A lot of people were having that issue. Finally, I got it worked out. Then I had to tweak all my clocks. It was all over the place. Finally, I got it up and running. I have it at 4K max setting on my PC. And my frames per second are around between 52 to like 56 frames per second. Then today I saw the Digital Foundry thing, and I knew that it was using a dynamic engine. I said it previous on our podcast that I saw it definitely at 1800p, and I could see that it scales up. At some points I could see it was at 4K. But I didn't think the whole game was running at 4K the whole time. So when I hear this morning that it's running at 4K, and then I see that it has mostly a locked 60 frames per second, I got to be honest with you guys, I actually regretted getting the PC version. I wish I had got the console.
That's why I asked this question. Like D, I know you. D shout out to D. D came online, so they held his own in Gears, right? And again, it's one thing I said. And again, the reason why I prefer, you know, console game. My friends are there. Like I said, and like you just said, you know what I mean? I got my first rig. I got wouldn't boot up right from the desk prompt. Like, you know, I mean, it's a bunch of issues. I like to sit down, just plug and play and be done with it, right? Now, you are more a PC gamer than a console gamer, right? And I say this, right? They were comparing this to what the GTX 1080 Ti. That's a $600 card, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
And that's not including your CPU, the RAM, all this other stuff, right? For $500, and that card alone costs more than this console, right? For $500,
yeah, it's $700 for that card.
Oh, I'm sorry, $200, and that's just, and you still need more to go along with it, right? To me, there's no comparing the two. Like, to my bang for your buck, as console. Listen, and indeed, hear me out. And then people think I'm over exaggerate what I'm saying, and it's not that big of a leap. Listen, if you're going by these videos on YouTube, and still you can still see the difference, but that's not telling the full picture here, right? I can't go back to there's no going back to the S, right? There's no going back to the S for me. Like, you know what I mean? I still got my S, but I equate the feeling I got right now with the X is like when I went from the PS3 and the 360 to the Xbox, when the new console, fresh generation, those graphics, I'm amazed. I didn't get that same feeling from the S, and I didn't get that same feeling from the Pro. But I got that new generation. I want to try everything on the X. Like, I'm like, literally, it's that big of a deal. And I don't think these people, some of those, like you say, the nons or the detractors, or just maybe just the haters, they're not being honest. Like, you know what I mean, with themselves. Even some of these YouTube channels says it's not that big of a deal. You're lying. It's that big of a deal. You know what I mean? I can't go back to the S.
Well, just put this into perspective. I have a Vega 64 graphics card. That's a $500 graphics card. You also have a GTX 1080, which is roughly the same price, give or take $30. And these cards are not running this game at 4K 60 frames per second locked. It's not. We're gonna have to bump down the settings somewhere here and there to get a smooth 60 frames per second. The Xbox One X is doing 60 frames per second, and it drops down to like 59, 58 the odd time. But for the majority of the time, it's staying at 60 frames per second. The thing that blew my mind today was when Digital Foundry said that the most of the time this game stays at 4K, that it gets all the way up to 4K. Like, getting up to, I was not expecting that out of this game. Like, this game is it's a showcase. It's a beautiful game. It's probably the best looking game that we've had this year. Now, Gears of War, I love that game too. It looks excellent. But Star Wars
looks amazing, bro. Like,
that Gears campaign serious, bro. That Gears campaign serious.
I saw a lot of PC guys like over on NeoGAF, over on Eurogame. These guys are really salty. One guy said, "Oh, my 1070 Ti can run it like this." No, it can't, bro. They said it directly in the video. You need a GTX 1080 Ti to get a solid 60 frames per second at 4K out of this game. I'm telling you that my Vega 64 is not doing it. The GTX 1080, it's not doing it. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can go look up the benchmarks online. You're going to see that at 4K ultra settings, those two cards do not run that game at 60 frames per second. Now, the fact that the Xbox One X is doing that for $500, you cannot tell me that the Xbox One X is not a great value. It's destroying people's PCs. Most people have an RX 580. Like, I'm an enthusiast, right? So I got a high-end card. Most people can't afford a $500-600 fucking card. You know what I'm saying? So most people have an RX 580, or they're still going from last generation. They have like an RX 290 or 390, or they have a GTX 970. These are the cards that populate most of people's PCs. Most people don't have a GTX 1080 Ti. They don't. Most people don't have a 1080. They just don't have that. And for the Xbox One to be outperforming the majority of PCs for $500, get out of here. It's 100%.
Hit the like button for your boy.
And the PS4 Pro. Are you kidding me? The PS4 Pro is fucking dead. It is. It's dead.
Okay, so
this is not a RX 480 or a 580 GPU that is in the X. This is a totally custom GPU, and they had to do it custom to get the cost to performance ratio.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And even with the RX 480, it draws too much power. First of all, so they couldn't just grab a part off the shelf and just slap it in there. This is a custom GPU that is doing this, that has Vegas and Polaris 10 features on it. But it's a custom GPU, man. This is crazy.
This is the thing. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if it was an RX 580. It doesn't matter. None of that shit matters because consoles are different than PCs.
Yes.
They are developed for different than PCs, even with the same architecture. Consoles are honed in because they are singular platform. If I put a game on PC, I have to put it for a wide range of platforms. That is why there is a minimum spec and a recommended spec. There's two different things, and those are just two separate platforms. Those are two separate entities where my game will run okay enough for it to be okay for you as a consumer, not for it to run its best, but for it to be okay for you as a consumer. And you know what that standard is? That standard that they set the recommended specs at is 1080p, not 4K. It's 1080p, and it's 60 FPS ish. It's not even locked. That is the standard for the minimum recommended specs. They put it at 720p and 60-ish FPS, 1080p, 60-ish FPS. So for the fact that I can go out and buy any number of reference cards or aftermarket cards with aftermarket coolers, aftermarket parts, I can overclock. My core clock can be off, and my CPU can be running unstable, and I wouldn't know because all I did was get a computer from Best Buy, and I went on to YouTube, and it said I can overclock because that's what's supposed to be in my computer. But I don't know how to check and see if it's stable. I just did it. So all of these things, they have to factor in when they design for PC. On the Xbox One and the PlayStation, they just have to design for that one single parameter, and it will stay locked for years. They don't have to do anything but put out patches for that one goddamn parameter. They don't have to change anything. They don't have to worry about new cards coming out and patches for the new cards. All they have to do is stay within the specs of this single console, and they can hone it in as best as they can, which is why John Carmack said what he said about for the same given power, a console will outperform PC, because that is a true statement, period. No matter how much you want it to be wrong, no matter how much you want to hate the X, it is a true statement, period. And reality checks, bruh, the fact that you said that Star Wars Battlefront 2 looks like shit on the X means that it looks like shit on any computer that you have with your 5 to 9 year old ass computer. Like, shut the fuck up.
D did not say the X was better than a 1080 Ti. He also did not say it was outperforming a 1070. Y'all are not listening to what he is saying.
Nah,
please listen to what he's saying. Y'all drawing your own conclusions and y'all putting words in his mouth. No one on the panel said the X was outperforming a 1080 Ti or that it was outperforming a 1070. He said it is outperforming most people PC setups. And he's not specifically talking about your PC setup in the whoever in the chat. He was just saying.
Let me answer this. Just to add to what Mass is saying here, that's right. Optimization is key. But another thing, I want to just dispel this assumption that the RX 580 is the same as the X. First of all, it has a lot less bandwidth and it has a lot less CUs. It is not the same. So just kill that argument right there. And when I say the majority of people, like I said, most people, to be honest with you, the new age people, they have an RX 580 or they have a GTX 1060. That's what the majority of PC gamers have right now. Then you go out, you start to go up to the 1070s, the 1080s, the 1080 Ti's. Most people don't have, I would say maybe about, I'll be nice, I'll say maybe about 7 to 8% of PC users actually have those GPUs. The rest of them don't have that. They have lesser GPUs. And the Xbox One X in comparison to that destroys those computers. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Developers that work on these games, that are putting these games out, that have the dev systems in their hands and that are using the tools that are available to them, are saying that it is comparable to a GTX 1070. So who are you armchair developers out there to say otherwise? And in all honesty, let's quantify it. Is a GTX 1070 doing Star Wars Battlefront at 4K 60 frames per second? No, it is not.
No, sir. No, sir.
And not only that, though, it's crazy. They're downplaying a system that hasn't even been fully utilized yet. We haven't seen all these patches on these games are really not utilizing this system to its full capabilities. Developers haven't really created a game that's been went through years and years of optimization for this system. We haven't seen that yet. These people are getting salty once again over enhanced titles, a patch title. Some of these games was developed like Amass was saying. Some of these games was developed on engines that's still using DirectX 11. Like, and you guys are getting salty. I can't wait to a year from now or a year or two from now, because if this is what's happening now on a patched game, then what y'all gonna do with Microsoft first party team come out with something that's oh my god.
I just wanted to go to the chat real quick. Oh man, Yazo, this dude said the X-Lays are retarded for even supporting EA Access. It's a glorified demo service. Yeah, are you high? What? What? I got Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, Mass Effect Andromeda. None of those are demos. I don't know what the hell you talking about. Games. Those are all full games.
And we got access to all the
demo service that's giving
all the live.
Even the early release games are
those are just those 3. And that's in the last 3 months. What the hell are you talking about?
And we get access to every new game that comes out before it comes out. We got access to all the Maddens, all the lives, all the whole library. And we
had Star Wars a week early.
Hey, listen, if you say
I got EA Access and Origin Access. I paid $60 to have it on both.
If you say EA Access is glorified, what the hell is PS4?
You cannot down.
Dude is killing. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
You cannot downplay EA Access, bro.
If you hate EA, that's all fine. But even then, like the people who be like, don't support this company, you shouldn't support Activision, EA, you shouldn't support Sony, all these everything. Microsoft, you should just stop gaming. Like all these people who jump in.
Hey yo,
I gotta say, gamers are really
stop gaming. Period.
Gamers are
really company does that bullshit.
Gamers are really triggered by this issue. I'm seeing all kinds of comments say, like, so in the comparison, they said the PS4 Pro is a little bit more stable by like 1 fucking frames per second. And I see these clowns posting in the comment section saying, oh, I'll take the PS4 Pro version. So you're gonna take a 1 frames per second difference over 100% resolution bump, and the settings are at a higher preset. You're gonna take that for 1 frame per second? Really?
You don't even see that
only
frame.
Sometimes. He said
you ain't gonna even see that 1 frame.
He literally said you will never ever see it.
Let me say to you here's out here. When FreeSync monitors and FreeSync 2 monitors and TVs come next year,
it's over.
That it's just gonna be a 360.
This game wrap over.
Yeah, hey, man.
Hey, D, they don't even know it's not the one. And Microsoft already said they're talking to TV manufacturers. They've been in talks with TV manufacturers to bring FreeSync to TVs. And if that drops next year, then the frames ain't gonna be no discussion. You will not be able to discuss frames with the X no more.
This is the thing. I don't care because I'm not buying my next set until there's FreeSync TVs. Like I'm just not. And
January I
already game on the monitor, but I'm just saying I'm not buying my next set till there's FreeSync TVs. But people like with this stupidity, the level of stupidity you have to have in order to see a 1 FPS drop and be like, that is significant in this decision.
It's not even the same texture.
Man, what wood buffer are you using? Like, you using Play, you using Honor? Like, what is going on now, bro?
Yo, shout out to King's Blood, man. Shout out to my bro King's Blood, man.
Hey, yo, hold up. And even with that 1 frame, it's not pushing the same textures and the same. I think the highest native the PS4 version goes to is 1440p.
That's the highest. And most of the time it's at 1292p, to be honest. That's
that's the highest that it gets to. Listen, this is what I want to say. And I was asking the guy, shout out to King, what's his name? King Trash Game, whatever name. Now we're gonna go back and say if Sony got better games, fine. All that's subjective, right? But just sit there and even argue the fact that even to say that the PS4 Pro can compete with the Xbox One X, you're just not being honest.
No.
Like that's like there's no. And listen, I have a Pro, okay. Even though I'm a gamer, and I enjoy not playing everything. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna show you again. I'm an Xbox guy, right? All right. But this feeling that I have right now, I didn't get that with the S, and I didn't get that with the Pro. I feel like, again, like Microsoft, you know, I don't know, like it's all new to me. Like I'm putting stuff in to see how it look. Like I haven't felt this way again since like 2013 when these consoles first came. You put everything and see how it look. Oh my god, this look good. Ooh, look at those graphics. This is hot.
Yeah, it is.
Listen, when I listen, y'all guys saw my Assassin's Creed video. You know what I mean? I just put it. I was live streaming. That what I wasn't faking. Shout out to my man Fonz, my bro Fonzarelli too. He in the chat. He's like, yo, so you gotta put that Assassin's Creed in. I said, nah, I'm wait. I wasn't even gonna play it. Man, I put that shit in. I said, oh, that shit blew my mind.
Yeah.
I want to say this here. I see also a lot of salty people saying, "Oh, the PS4, it's okay. The PS5 is coming out next year, so we'll have the power advantage again." First of all, let me tell you guys, gotta break it to you guys. It's gonna be a long 3 years with that type of attitude. So you need to get rid of that shit. And another thing, people are saying, "Oh, but it has FP16 and it's gonna bridge the gap." Now, if you guys forgot, Wolfenstein is the game that was really touting FP16 calculations. That was the big one from AMD, and that's the one that all the fanboys jumped on saying, "Yeah, wait till that game."
Talk about it, D. Talk about it.
What does it get to? 1440p at lower settings, and the Xbox One X version goes up to 4K high settings.
What happened to the FP16? I mean, what happened? What happened?
That rapid math. What happened to that rapid math? You know what I mean?
Hey, Omega. When he say Sony fans, it's a general term. Like what he said is that like you're not in our group, and I don't think you're in Bang Bang next gen. It's a lot of Sony fans. It's a group of Sony, Nintendo fans, and then the Xbox. And I mean, when you say you got debates and battles over games, frames, and resolution, and it's crazy. A lot of people in that group. And a lot of people across many forums was touting FP16 as the savior. Not all Sony fans who had logic, but some of them was touting that to close the performance gap. It hasn't. It just simply hasn't.
I don't know. Listen, I'm about to ignore him. It's the last time I'm supposed to get this guy some shine. He bugging out. Reality check. First of all, shout out to everybody in the live stream. You know what I mean? You be so kind that you come in and hit the like button, man. Shout out to the Patreon supporters. Shout out to the guys that have been rocking out and be supporting us on, you know, with the super chat. You know what I mean? I appreciate it. This here is for the iPhone. I'm the wrong one. But anyway, like, shout out to you guys. I'll put the link for those who have an iPhone that want to donate to the super chat. Right? This guy said, right? Reality check. He says, Zaire says that graphics are more important than resolution. I just told him my GTX 970, my God, is running his games better than his Xbox One X only at a low. Bro, you're bugging. Stop it, Shake. You're bugging. You listen. So you're with your GTX 970, you're pushing the same textures and stuff as the Xbox. You're like, come on, bro. Like now you bugging. Like, well, first of all, listen. I'm gonna say this one thing. You should feel like, and you have a quote unquote a gaming rig or whatever the case, and that console is more powerful than your rig. That's a fact. I mean, like, bro, shout out to Mike just donated $5 in super chat. Shout out to you. You know what I mean? Good show. Appreciate it, good brother. Like you're bugging, and why are you comparing your personal computer to a gaming console? Are you mad that this console was dancing circles around you?
He's mad,
and it don't even make no like he.
Well, how can you say it's running better when you're not? You can't push the same texture. Like when you're bugging.
What's he have?
He got a 970.
He got a 970.
Yeah, he's not coming close. He's outclassed. He's outclassed.
I don't even know what else he's talking about. Like you're not pushing the same textures. Like
not even close.
Yeah, yeah, like come on, bro. Like you bugging. Bro, I don't know. Like I said, oh man.
You know what? My King's Blood Gaming made a perfect statement in Bang Bang. He said, "You can't tell me frames is the end all be all, then ridicule a console for scaling the resolution down to maintain stable frame rates. Isn't scaling down for a minute so much different than turning settings down on a PC?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they harp on this system about frames and things like that. When they go on, even with these 970s, 1080 Ti's, they go on there, they change every setting in the world to get it to the right resolution and frame and performance that they want. But yet they want to clown a console for pretty much doing the same. I mean, I don't get it. And it's crazy that this system is running some of these games at either high end or close to high end, or in some cases even matching ultra PC settings. And it's nothing wrong with that. We should want this from our industry. No fanboy should aside. As an industry, looking at the whole industry, you should want systems like the X. I don't care if you're a PS4, PC, X, whatever whatever is your preferred systems, you should want Microsoft, Sony to put out systems like this and continue to put out systems like that, because it will only benefit us. You know what I'm saying? It will only benefit the gamers. This is the first time we're getting PC-like quality on a console. Y'all should be welcoming this. You shouldn't be downplaying it, because this is just going to put energy under Sony to do the same thing. Why is this a problem that a system is giving us great graphics, great performance, things that we often sometimes shun these companies for not doing? We shun Microsoft for putting out the Xbox One at 1.3 teraflops. I mean, we shitted on them. 900p, 720p, we did all that, right? Then they put out a system where they kind of make up for all that, and then they went beyond in regards to what it offers, and it's a problem to people. I don't understand that.
I don't understand why PC guys get so upset. This is really going to help the PC market.
Well, why are you even in conversation though?
Because these, I think they're in a conversation because we're getting high quality visuals that only a PC's had thus far. The console hasn't touched that, so naturally it's going to be in the conversation as well. You got developers saying that it's like a high-end PC experience. You just had the Wolfenstein developer come out like yesterday and say the Xbox One X version it's pretty much close. It's very close to a high-end experience on a PC. So these PC guys are getting all butt hurt. But listen, the PC is always going to have an advantage because it's not a closed environment. You can always swap out what you want, but it costs a lot more for starters. Number two, if you spend all that money on your expensive rig, you should be happy, because this means now you're going to get games that will truly support the hardware that you have. Because the Xbox One S, whether people want to believe it or not, and the original PS4, they were really holding games back. If you look at Digital Foundry, have you noticed in these comparisons that they're not putting the PS4 and the Xbox One anymore? It's just the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One, and the PC, because gaming needs to move forward. It's kind of been held back by these kind of anemic consoles. And now we're going to finally get some truly next-gen shit.
Yo, at the end of the day, right? I will say this. Hey, shout out my man, Chad, man, 23. What's going on with you, brother? At the end of the day, before we get the hell up out of here, right? I'm gonna say this again. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Like I said, you guys would be so kind to hit the like button. It really helps the show. You know what I mean? I got actually, you know what? How about this, right? I'm feeling generous for today, man. You know what I mean? I'll drop this in the super chat, man. In the chat right there, right? I mean, I said to say this, right? And I'm gonna say this again. And this is a question. I'm asking both of you guys this question, and we can end the show with this, right? Hold on a second. Baby girl, I'll call you right back in 1 second, okay? I'm on here. I said to say this, right? At the end of the day, now we are what you call, this is something new for consoles, and I'm digging it, what you call a mid-gen refresh, whatever the case may be, but however you want to spin it, right? So the PS4 Pro came out in 16. We got the Xbox One X in 17, right? Okay. So did that extend the generation? Because you think about it, games take a little longer to come out than they used to before, as far as development cycles. You know, we probably won't see the last. I think I don't even think they started final production or starting making The Last of Us 2. So that's at least 2.5 years off, whatever the case. The same thing with Death Stranding or whatever. And we still Cyberpunk. There's a few games that are still, the rumor would come out this generation that's still coming out. So at its earliest now, you know, and it's too. I don't expect Sony to come out with new hardware, you know, because they really don't make the money of the hardware. It's off to the software sales, you know what I mean, and move the generation. When would you expect to see a PS4 Pro? You know what I mean? And It's you know what I mean. Like we got the we got the Pro. Sorry, the PS5. We got the Pro in 16. You know what I mean? So are we like I said? Are we is it going to be an 8-year console cycle generation again? 9-year?
Well, just because it's split. But hold on, real quick. Shout out to Alex Howe who dropped €2 on the super chat. Said help reality check upgrade from that dusty ass 970.
Oh, he drops. Oh, shout out my man Alex Howe. Shout out to you, good brother.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. It'll be 8 years probably just because it's technically a split cycle since they dropped the mid-gen game, so it'll be like 7 years.
I want to say this too. I want to say this. This notion that it was never about power with the Xbox One is false. It was always about power, even before it was released. It was debates going in forums about the PS4 and the Xbox One specs. It was always about power. It's that power never materialized. Rise Son of Rome was the only game that really showed the extent of what the Xbox One could do, which got us excited. But as we got further down in the generation, that power never materialized. But at the beginning of the Xbox One, before release and after release, Xbox fans was excited to see what this system was capable of doing, but over the years, that power never materialized. So it was always about powers in game. So this notion that we never thought about power with the Xbox One is just false. It's just we pretty much got bamboozled because it never materialized, and that's just the honest truth.
Yeah, and I think, like I said today, Microsoft kind of got caught with their pants down with the peripheral. Listen, it's a recipe. You don't ever sacrifice the specs of your console to include a peripheral that may or may not take on. Like I said, graphically about the same, but this whole resolution thing, you know what I mean? Which I always thought it was kind of silly for console gamers to be arguing about resolution and frames per second. I'm 39 years old. I remember the days going back. What's better, Sonic or Mario or whatever? I've never on the playground and said, "Hey, my game is doing 16." I never heard that before on the playground, back in school. Or even who had the better games? Fine, but resolution, I always thought that was kind of silly for console guys. But again, this is the narrative that been painted. Now going forward, Sony no longer has which is very important. Hear me out. Have the better version of the multiplats. Now I say this, and people say it's damage control. I'm not damage controlling, right? Because for the first 3.5 years, you can say what you want to say. Sony they claimed the fame was Bloodborne and The Last of Us Remastered, and that wasn't until Uncharted came out. Okay, even Sony, Andrew House saying that their ship was sparse. Okay, let's be clear. We got to listen, Cole. But Sony did have the better version of the multiplayer. Now Sony next year has God of War. They have God of War. They have Spider-Man with amazing. No Days is Gone, Left, or whatever, and Human or Detroit, whatever. 4 big games, all well, but neither one of those games will outsell Red Dead Redemption. I'm not talking about combined on the X. I'm talking about on either platform. Either way you split it, you know what I mean? And again, I'm not making an excuse for Microsoft. I do when it comes to exclusive buys. Sony does have, to me, in my honest opinion, I like their exclusive, but what suited me. But again, what I eat don't make someone shit. You know what I mean? Some people, I know a lot of Xbox guys, they can't wait for Sea of Thieves. They'd rather play Sea of Thieves than God of War. It's not for me. You know what I mean? Cool. Now, again, what's going to sell more next year? You know what I mean? Again, multiplats. You got some, look, Horizon Zero Dawn was Sony's biggest game this year, right? 3 million copies with install base of 70 or 60 million. You know what I mean? And and again, which is cool, but again, the multiplats are what sells, you know what I mean? And the Call of Duties, like, come on, you see it, man. The Assassin's Creeds, you know what I mean? That's really, what motherfuckers go, like the casual guys that go out. It's us, the hardcore that are in this chat right now. We go out and get all the exclusives, right? But the average Joe Smo, they're not buying the Quantum Breaks. They're not buying the Sunset Overdrive. They're not buying The Last of Us, especially Bloodborne. You know what I mean? The Order 1886. You know what I mean? Horizon Zero Dawn. They're not buying those games, man. You know what I mean? Hey, you want to say?
Yeah, I think exclusives matter.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying that's not my stance. Saying they don't matter. They matter to the hardcore.
Yeah,
the casual guys, they're not. They're going to buy their 2K. They're going to buy their Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, the multiplats is what's really selling. But I'll give some credit where it's due to the PlayStation family, because if they didn't have those exclusives, I wouldn't have a PS4, to be honest with you, because I hate the fucking controller. And also, too, if they didn't have these exclusives coming out next year, I'd be hawking off my PS4 Pro right about now, to be honest with you, because that thing is going to stay dusty until those exclusives come out. I got my PS4 Pro to play my multiplats, to be honest with you, because I knew they were running better than the Xbox One. And I said, okay, I'm just going to buy my multiplats on that. And that was the reason why I got it, plus the exclusives, right? Now that the Xbox One X is, I know I'm hardly going to touch that system. And as far as when the next PS5 is going to come out, in all honesty, I think it's going to be 2020. However, with the if the trend keeps going this way with them, well, their ass is going to get handed this whole generation, the rest of it anyways. I think Sony might have to probably bring it out maybe in 2019 if it's something that's feasible to them. They're probably going to try to push that. It may be, because they're gonna get slaughtered the next 2 years. Like, every single game is gonna look and run better on the Xbox One X, and the PS4 Pro is essentially. I don't think the PS4 itself is dead, because it's still cheap and it still plays games at 1080p. And you can still play your exclusives on that. So I don't think the PS4 is dead, but I think the PS4 Pro is pretty much dead. Who the fuck's gonna buy that? It's not a real 4K machine. It's really a 2K machine. You don't have any 4K Blu-ray on that. It's a little improvement over the regular PS4 on the games that are supported, and not many games are really supporting the Pro modes anyway. So I kind of think that console is gonna start to see its sales decline on it, and I think because of that, they might be forced to try to bring up a console in 2019, the earliest, but I really think it's going to be 2020, and it doesn't really matter when they release it, because 1 year later, the Xbox One or the next Xbox version is going to come out. See, Sony, this is how Sony fucked up here. They came out too early. They came out too early, and they came out too weak. That's the problem. So the next time when they come with their system, Microsoft has a year to counter them. So they're fucked.
Yeah,
but the reason they did it was twofold. One, they could get away with it. Like, you can, if you put yours out first and say it has, 4K, quote unquote, and then it comes out and there's nothing to compare it to, because you weren't seeing all these, like, you were seeing, like, some sparse here or there, comparison from PS4 Pro to PC, but you were seeing PS4, how much PS4 Pro is better than the base versions. Now, all the Xbox One X comparisons. When was the last time you saw anybody do a base comparison of the base platforms? And it's not going to happen, because they're going to go with the X versus the high-end PC, and they're going to do a comparison to the PS4 Pro, say how much better it is, and then they're going to transition from the X to the PC. The PlayStation put out their product because they could say 4K, have no other product to compare it to, and it could be out for an entire year before anybody could say, well, this wasn't completely worth it, because you didn't know exactly what the X was going to be. You knew it was going to be on paper. On paper, it sounded like it was going to be a better console, but you hadn't seen it. And even with Phil saying, wait till you see the games running, he literally said this, that put it in your head that you needed to wait. So with that being the case, Sony took perfect advantage of that and put out the product that they could get away with, knowing that people would buy it in the interim time, and they wouldn't have any product to compare it to. Now what's going to happen is, as time goes on, they're going to put together a PS5. It's going to be the same off-the-shelf parts, because that is how Sony is going to operate going forward. That's been proven in their television manufacturing, everything. They've all gone to off-the-shelf stuff, and that's just how they are in order to save costs, so that they can continue to raise us as investors our confidence in them. So they're going to keep doing that. So the PS5 will be off-the-shelf parts put together in a way that it's just basically going to be stronger than the Xbox One X, because it's coming out later.
18 flops? Did you say 18 flops?
I don't know. It'll depend. If it comes out in 2019, it'll be somewhere around 8. If it comes out 2020, it'll be 10. Just because it'll be easy.
That'll be 16.
Like, it'll be cheap.
16 flops in the console.
It'll be cheap to do it.
What's the GTX 1080? That's T flop. Any 10?
11.
Yeah.
Jesus. So we're talking about at least 4 years from now.
That's what I'm saying. Like it'll be simple to do it easy, and then they'll have all of the Ryzen variant chips and the second generation of those to choose from, and create whatever they're gonna do with that generation of chip. So it'll just be easy. They're gonna take everything that they can get, from that era that has come out and that is cheap, or they'll probably even have the first generation chips and put it in there, and it'll just be in APU format. But they're gonna take all those conversions and they're gonna take that and put together a PS5. And the way GPUs are going now, where they're trying to make it so the GPU is the only thing you need to run a computer, all that is stemming from the Xbox One and the PS4. That is stemming from how they were created and how these things run the architecture of every computer known to man. So since they run them in a certain manner, that is what this whole transition to you only need to buy a GPU is coming from. And it's all going to slowly shift that direction. It'll probably be, I'm going to say conservatively 2020. I don't think PlayStation is in any hurry because they're winning. They have so many consoles out there. They have a global market share. They're still in more countries right now than the Xbox One is, period. So that's not going to change. Their momentum is going to continue. They're going to use 2018 as a race platform. You'll see sparingly, they'll start to trail off and save stuff, or they'll announce it, but they'll start to save stuff for the PS5 launch in 2020-ish. That's when I'm going to say it. And then you'll see Microsoft 1 year later with the same shit, with a new console.
Hey, listen, Top Dog can help himself, but hey, Top Dog, shout out to you, man, for the super chat. He dropped $5 and you cheap bastard. He says mental illness is still a big problem in the Xbox community. That no console and that don't know console history. I don't know, for another $1 more, I'll let you finish your sentence. I don't know what you're trying to say here. I don't know what you're trying to say. Shout out to my man Top Dog. But hold on, I got my man John near. Bring that ass here, boy. Pause. He said, duh, Multiplats sell more because it's on more than one platform. No, that's not what I said. I said choose either other platform, whether it's just the sales of the PS4 on the on the PS4, Red Dead on the PS4, or just sales of Red Dead on the Xbox One. I'm not talking about combined. I'm talking about individually. You know what I mean?
Red Dead will 1,000% sell as much as all of the PS5 exclusives, and that's including PS4 exclusives next year, and that's including Spider-Man and God.
I got a perfect example for him. Check this out, right? How big is the install base for PS4?
68 million.
Okay, right. Okay, now it has at least maybe double, if not damn near double, the install base of the Xbox One, right? But how come Forza 7 outsold GT Sport? Damn!
If you go by what my ninja said, then that man said it's because it's more games on the PS4, so we get to choose between more. I don't know how that translates to racers. Like a racer is a racer. You get to choose the most iconic racer of all time.
There's no racers on the PS4.
There was nothing else. I don't know. So they was all waiting for Need for Speed. That's what it was. They was all waiting for Need for Speed. I figured it out. Everybody on PlayStation didn't want to buy Gran Turismo because they was all waiting for Need for Speed. That's what it is. I got y'all excuse. That's your excuse from now on. Y'all can use that free of charge. Everybody's waiting for Need for Speed.
I'm gonna cover you, 87 Gamer. He says, PC kills the Xbox. Why do you keep talking about your PC? No, your PC doesn't kill the Xbox One X. That's for damn sure. I gotta throw that right there. But why are you comparing a personal computer to a bro? You out here looking spooky in this comment section, bro. 87 Gamer, man. He said, I'm buying the X, but I'm not convinced the power is needed for cartoons. I forget about Quantum Break. Quantum Break is what are you talking about? Cartoons? What are you talking about, bro?
You talking about
okay, cool. But what about the Multiplats? What about the Multiplats? What about Tomb Raider? What about Gears of War? That ain't cartoon. You know what I mean? Like come on.
Lord, these
people, bro, you bugging.
These little excuses. Stop it. Just, I mean, if you don't want a better system, don't buy it. But stop making up these little insignificant excuses.
You know what? Though
you don't want to purchase it. A lot of people I've seen, they still got their PS4. They say, hey, I'm gonna have my exclusives on the PS4, and I'm gonna play my multiplats on the X. If you want to do that, do that. But if you don't want to buy the console, shut the fuck up.
That's what I'm hearing.
In Asia. GT Sport outsold Forza 7. You don't say. There's like 3 Xbox Ones in Asia.
He said Asia. He said Bang Deck China.
Yeah. This man states like things that are obvious. Like, yes, of course. Like, there's like 4 people in Japan that own an Xbox One, and 2 of them are on the military base. The other 2 work for Microsoft.
Listen. North America is the number one, in terms of retail, number one consumer of everything, just about. I mean, everything.
Definitely video games. Yeah, that is a true statement.
So again, I'm just saying and it outsold too in Europe. If I'm not mistaken. Also, Forza 7 outsold a great GT Sport. But I say to say this, right? You got even the Puerto Rico, with the install base. Some people here were still a little leery of, being at for GT Sport, is such an iconic franchise and that huge, the whole huge Sony install base. And then again, these Forza 7 outsold GT Sport. Now you gotta take the L. Shit. What about those NAC 2 sales? Exclusives matter so much. That shit sold 26,000 copies. Let's talk about it.
Look, man.
Exclusives count so much. Ain't none of y'all bought motherfucking NAC 2. They should sold 26,000 copies.
These are Sony fans. These are Sony fans. See, they listen to their favorite Sony YouTube podcast, and they let them throw them off. They listen to their Puerto Rock, but Puerto Rock be on Xbox Live with us, bro. He on his Xbox, bro. All that Sony shit, but he got an Xbox. Alex in the comment section, who say don't buy the X was set 2 days in the line outside of Microsoft store for Xbox One X. He's in the chat telling you not to buy the console or shit on the system.
That man was out there taking pictures with Albert Pinello and
taking pictures with everybody
and all the Xbox executives
standing in line to buy Xbox One X.
I know next gen.
Only to turn around and tell you, 14 hours. Stop. I'm an Xbox fan, and I ain't even spent 14 hours waiting on the Xbox.
Talk about it.
All the Sony shit you do on this platform, you was out there 14 hours, player. And tell these people not to buy X, which you is so enjoying in the comforts of your own home. Man, y'all better stop following. Y'all better do it, y'all.
These codes, though, they're in the minority because I'm like on NeoGAF. I'm looking at recent era, and a lot of these guys that have a PlayStation 5, they're saying, "Oh shit, you know what? I'm sold. I'm getting an Xbox One X." You know how many comments I saw today on Digital Foundry's video saying, "Holy shit, you guys just sold me an Xbox One X. Holy shit, it's a beast." Some guy saw some guy. He said, "You know what? I was gonna build a $900,000 PC. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna get an Xbox One X. It's gonna give me pretty much the same performance, anyways."
Yeah. It is.
This is the thing. People are gonna continue to go. You guys have this exclusive. It sucks. This exclusive. It sucks. Whatever. Your taste in exclusives is not my taste in exclusives. There's been hundreds of games that have been critically panned. That is somebody else's opinion of a game. I don't give a damn whether or not the dude at IGN or the dude at GameSpot likes a game. That don't mean a damn thing to me. 90% of the dudes who work at those things are pretentious as hell. Them is the ones that play all these indie games like, oh my God, it was so life-changing. Like, no. Things like Flower. If you think Flower is a good game, run into a wall head first. Like, what? That wasn't even a damn game. It was a tech demo that was horribly constructed. Like, stuff like that. If you believe that those are the games that are going to change the world, then you are part of the problem.
He's got style. He said the last Guardian outsold Gears. Hey, Christian, I'm about to ban your ass from this chat.
Man, you don't know what Gears, so they ain't even put out numbers on Gears. They haven't put out, and you know why? Majority of them probably sold digital, and
I got mine digital.
Digital sales.
It's over 3 million though.
Yeah, it's way.
It don't even matter.
Gears did number, but I don't listen to reviewers, man.
Review scores.
Right, they told me
the game sold. None of that means a damn thing to me. The only thing that matters to me is if I bought my copy and if I like my copy. I don't give a damn about nobody else's opinions or wallets. None. I don't give a damn about
it. They actually review games that they have no interest in.
Right. It's the same thing. All these dudes that popped out all these Xbox One X reviews of all these games, and the console itself had that junk for like 2 days. Popped out a review because they wanted views. Nobody give a damn about that opinion.
My man, he's spreading spectator status. He down there what they're down on Trump, the alternative facts and fake news. He said Uncharted sold 9 million. Let's talk about this, okay? The reason why Uncharted, and again, shout out to them. I'm not knocking it or down to play it because it was bundled, right? And the games that were bundled last holiday season, the number one selling console for last year was the Uncharted bundle. You know what I mean? It was the number one selling console in the U.S. and worldwide was the Uncharted bundle. Okay, let's be clear with this. Okay, he said Persona sold 2.5 million. Again, let's be honest with that. Over more than half of those sales came from the PS3,
and they were in Japan before it touched anywhere else.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you're bugging. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, play this right. And all like I said, I will say this, and we can close the show with this, right? Microsoft has how many billion-dollar franchises? Gears of War, Halo, Forza. How many billion-dollar franchises does Sony have? If one is what, Gran Turismo? If that, you know what I mean? Just think about it. Just be clear of that, okay? I guarantee you that Gears of War made more money than goddamn Uncharted for sure. You know what I mean?
Forza. Yep.
Halo. Yeah. Halo.
Look how long Forza was out, and it still beat Gran Turismo in sales.
Came out in September. Gran Turismo came out in October, and it still beat it. Let's talk about it. Shout out to everybody that rocked out the show today, man. I appreciate it, man. I want you Sony guys to go out there and buy that. It should sold 26,000 copies. I need you to go out there and buy that, man. And again, man, shout out to everybody that rocked out, supported in the super chat. I appreciate it. My iPhone users, they want to get down, they want to be left out. There you go. Listen to, if you want to sponsor the shows, some of the debates, you know what I mean? Just have a direction, some of the things that we're doing. Like I said, get down with us, rock out with us on the Patreon.
What?
We appreciate it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna leave the link. Like I said, you know what I mean? You know, if you got a dog shit channel such as myself, you're trying to grow, you're trying to network, you know what I mean, and get down with we family here, man. You know what I mean? Oh, we ask before you don't get down. We ain't listen, cool up with it. We don't do that weirdo stuff, man. We ain't with all that shit. And if you want to come down, like I said, get to give us some good brothers and brainstorm on how to grow our brands and everything. Come get down with us. Like I said, with the broadband bullies to support the Patreon. We appreciate it, man. I got somebody to sign today.
Maybe you and your alternative facts are killing me, bro.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
He said Sony had $6 billion IPs.
You hear? What?
They say $6 billion.
Sony has $6 billion IPs.
Name them. I want to name.
Wait, what?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that man to name. I want all of them names.
The fact that Reality Check is in the chat naming, screaming PC Master Race says a lot, bro.
Yeah, whatever.
With that 970,
have you noticed we stopped responding to that dude like 20 minutes ago?
Listen, but what's $6 billion franchises that Sony got? Please name out. What?
We gonna stay just for you to name.
I'm gonna give you an extra 5 minutes.
we gonna stay for extra 5 minutes. Just
Omega, we need the receipt, player. We need the receipt.
Give me them receipts, bro.
Yeah, what? I'll name them 6 IPs, $1 billion. What? What we gonna name?
Name them.
Dylon. What you gonna name, bro? What you gonna name?
I'm waiting, bro.
Yeah, what you gonna name, bro? Yeah, I thought so.
He asking Siri right now. Siri.
He said Siri. Yeah, listen. Yeah, man. What? 1886. What are you talking? You said $6 billion. Even if Uncharted, the order sold 2 million copies, it still ain't nowhere near $1 billion. What the hell are you talking about, man? I gave you an example. The launch week of Gears of War. I'm sorry, launch week of Halo. The IP was over $450 million. You know what I mean? I think on launch day or the first 2 days, over $450 million. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna ask you again, what
franchises, billion-dollar franchises that are worth $1 billion. Forza is $1 billion franchise. Halo been $1 billion franchise. Gears of War is now $1 billion franchise.
He said he listened to them.
Yes, I'm let the man do it. I'm waiting.
Well, list them.
Okay, list. You ain't gotta say nothing else. Just list them, bro.
Name me one.
Hey, copy paste. Exactly. You even gotta list them one by one. Put them all in one list.
Series. I need you to find.
This guy right here said, "Hey, Naughty Dog." Wait. Special status said Naughty Dog is worth more than Halo, Gears, and what?
That's untrue. But let's just keep going.
That's not true. He's using that Amazon. He's using that Amazon Alex.
I forgot about Minecraft. Minecraft too is billions.
Alex.
Hey yo. Amazing Alex. I'm getting it, bitch. Hey man, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. You guys enjoyed yourself today, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys that did donate to the show. We appreciate help the show.
Yo, man.
Oh, listen, so this nigga pissed old parrot eating ass. This nigga, man, grew up eating parrot, eating skunk ass. That nigga's terrible, man. Yeah, terrible. Have some respect for my man. That means he not good. We still ain't get that list. Listen, before we go, what's the next debate you guys want to see, man? You know what I mean? If we can clean up King Thrash Gaming. How would we do King's Blood versus King Thrash Gaming? We clean them up though. You know,
Clash of Kings.
Yeah, we're gonna battle Kings.
Oh, King Blood making his debut. Y'all don't want to miss
this.
King's Blood Gaming versus King Thrash. We're gonna do that debate next.
Don't sleep on my bro King's Blood. I'm telling you.
We can clean King Thrash. So, guys, if you didn't see the last episode of Multiplayer Podcast,
woo,
it was hot and heavy. It was very hot.
He said Gran Turismo. Yes, there is one.
Gran Turismo
Uncharted, The Last of Us, MLB The Show, and Ratchet and Clank.
No.
Uncharted, you were 1 for 6.
No.
Ratchet and Clank is $1 billion franchise.
Oh man,
MLB The Show. Hold on.
Man, Jesus. Oh man. All right.
It was adorable. It was adorable.
Listen, hold up. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. But listen, guys, if you didn't see the last episode of the Multiplayer Podcast, hit with a link and get yourself acquainted with King Thrash Gaming. Very crazy, very controversial show. I lost 6 subscribers behind it. You're gonna see why. Watch the show. We're gonna do King's Blood Gaming versus King Thrash. We're gonna make that happen, man. I mean, at the end of the day. But thank you all for rocking out with us, man. Again, last time before we get the hell up out of here. You want to get, like I said again, you want to support the shows or become a part of the Broadband Bullies, whatever. Like I said, here go the link for that. Also, listen, swing by the website. Check out the website, man. Check out the website. Yeah, let me leave the link to our website. Like, we growing. We got big things.
That is not a.
I laughed. It was hilarious to me.
Overwatch is already $1 billion franchise.
Yeah,
but Ratchet and Clank.
This man, I don't know, like he went into the dumpster of his soul and found all types of
right now, man. We out of here, man. Thank you for rocking out with us in this makeshift podcast. It turned it longer than I thought it was gonna be, but shout out to you guys, man. Man, we for some love, peace, and soul.
Stay